a gang who posed as police to kidnap a man by bundling him into a fake squad car, then demanded a £100,000 ransom, have been jailed for more than 48 years. Pradeep Thandi was ambushed seconds after leaving his home in Bromley, southeast London, at about 11:20 p.m. on December 22, 2016. The violent gang chased him down and savagely beat him, forcing him to the ground like a pack of dogs before bundling him into a black Audi with flashing blue lights. Conrad Jackson, left, drove the kidnap vehicle, a fake police car fitted with blue flashing lights, and Reese Jackson, right, helped him bundle the victim into the car in Bromley, southeast London. They threatened to kill Mr. Thandi and fired an imitation gun inside the vehicle, which contained stab vests, handcuffs and cable ties. Inner London Crown Court heard the thugs held the terrified man for 7 hours and made menacing calls to his elderly mother and relatives, demanding more than £100,000 for his release. At one point, neighbors saw him desperately scrambling out of the car on his hands and knees before Conrad and Reese Jackson punched him and threw him back in. Related articles. Previous one. Next, El Chapo wants his trial moved to Manhattan because his track pictured Britain's worst mother. Karen Matthews, Sports A. Share this article. Share. Mr. Thandi was not released until just before 7 a.m. when it became clear the gang's demands for money would not be met. The 4 men denied but were convicted by a jury following a trial of joint charges of conspiracy to kidnap, conspiracy to imprison falsely and conspiracy to blackmail. Jurors also convicted Conrad and Reese Jackson jointly of possession of an imitation firearm and Rollins of possession of a Class A drug, sentencing them on May 8. Judge Mark Bishop said it was a ruthless act of violence, snatching someone off the street and subduing him with violence. One witness described it as a frenzied attack, like someone being set on by a pack of dogs. At one point she thought the victim was dead. The demands made were chilling and threatening, demanding at one stage £100,000. There can be no doubt that this experience would have been frightening and shocking for the family. Amir Setter, left, had been spying on the victim before the attack, and Zephan Rollins, right, took part in the blackmail. Conrad Jackson, 25, a business management student at London Metropolitan University, was said to be the intellectual ringleader of the gang who drove the car. He was joined by Reese Jackson, also 25, described as the muscle behind the operation. CCTV played for jurors showed inside man and father of 3 Amir Setter, 29, spying on Mr. Thandi from a second car before the attack. He lived on the same street as the victim and let Conrad and Reese know when they should pounce. 4th conspirator Zephan Rollins, 30, was said to be centrally involved in the blackmail. He had recently been released on license from a 10-year jail term for possession of a firearm. A set of handcuffs recovered from the black Audi being driven by Conrad Jackson during the kidnap. It also contained stab vests and cable ties. Prosecutor Michael Biscuit previously told the court Mr. Thandi was on the road outside his home address. One of the 2 men in the vehicle got out and ran towards Mr. Thandi. A black Audi vehicle pulled up with blue lights flashing. He was pursued by the man on foot and by the Audi vehicle, which was reversed at speed. Mr. Thandi ran away. He was assaulted. A short distance away, Mr. Thandi was caught up with. Neighbors saw and heard him being punched and kicked to the floor, picked and put into the back of the Audi, which drove away at speed. Over the next 7 hours or so, a number of telephone calls were made. An imitation firearm recovered from the kidnapped vehicle. It was shot while the victim was inside. He said the calls to the victim's family were particularly to his brother and his elderly mother, demanding ransoms which at times were in excess of £100. They threatened to shoot Mr. Thandi, and indeed an imitation firearm was present, said Mr. Brisgrove, adding that it was discharged in the car. 000. Mr. Thandi was eventually released shortly before 7 the following morning when it became clear the demands were not going to be met. Conrad Jackson of Bromley, southeast London, was jailed for 15 years for his role in the crime. as well as drugs offences and possession of criminal property. Reese Jackson of Finsbury Park, North London, was jailed for 12.5 years for his part in the kidnap. Possession of cannabis and taking a conveyance without authority. Sayer of Bromley, South East London, was jailed for 10 years for his role in the kidnap. He was also banned from driving for 6 years because he drove while disqualified when he was spying on Mr. Thandy from a car in the street they both lived on. Rollins of Bromley, South East London, was jailed for 11 years for his part in the kidnap. Detective Inspector Gary Myers, who leads the Met's Modern Slavery and Kidnap Unit, listed the defendants as despicable.
Where the freaks at?